The scenes across the northern beaches, Northern Beaches Peninsula yesterday were unbelievable. Now, I've lived in that part of the world. I've spent a lot of time in that part of the world, and I would never have thought that I would have seen cars floating on the Roseville Bridge or cars being jammed in car parks, water waist deep flowing through the middle of Manly. I mean, it was just extraordinary. There were evacuation centres set up, including at Mona Vale and the Freshie Surf Club. Jason Falinski is the federal Liberal MP for Mackellar. He joins us on the line. Who would have ever thought that you would have witnessed what you witnessed yesterday, Jason?
Mate, not me, that's for sure. I mean, when we got reports in the office that Roseville Bridge was flooded and closed, I had the immediate image that came to my head was, because as you know, it's about 40 metres above the water, that somehow the water level had gone up by 40 metres. So it's just kind of unheard of what we've witnessed over the last couple of, the last day or so.
Spit Bridge went under as well, or was shut, so the peninsula was basically shut off. The only way you could get off if you wanted to desperately was get on the ferry. Was that running?
Well, yeah, pretty much. I mean, at one point, Mona Vale Road was closed as well. So, yeah, all the three major, Pittwater Road was closed in all sorts, in numerous occasions. Wakehurst Parkway and Oxford Falls Road have been closed for over a week now. So, yeah, the road network on the northern beaches, which has been not great for a very long time, really needs upgrading, and we really need to get on with Beaches Link to achieve that. But, we really saw the results of the fact that, for example, Wakehurst Parkway hasn't been upgraded. I mean, local and state governments have spent more money studying the problem and how to fix it than it would actually cost to fix. So
imagine the potholes on those roads now, how dangerous that'll be.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. There are potholes everywhere. And even in dry times, Steve, we're seeing car accidents and traffic incidents along those roads, especially late at night, have been steadily increasing for the last 10 years.
The situation yesterday was extraordinary. I was talking to a friend of mine, her husband, who's a fiery based at North Narrabeen. He was off yesterday, so he actually had to use his tradies ute, and he works as a stonemason as well, to go and actually rescue friends' children from school because they couldn't get out. They were trapped.
Yeah, that was at Mackellar Girls High, I think. Is that right? Or
Yep.
Yeah, they were extraordinary scenes. I mean, we've known for a while that we have drainage issues through Brookvale because we try to use the golf course to get that rain out. But of course, people have always thought, this once in 100-year weather event won't happen. Well, it happened this year, and lack of preparation, constantly putting things off that we know need to be fixed. That's the result. You get people trapped and you get roads cut off. We're very lucky because we have a culture of volunteerism on the beaches. So our SES, our Marine Rescue, our RFS are some of the best in the country because of the sort of level of support they get from the community.
I presume that Manly Lagoon flooded as well, did it?
Look, it did, but that was that was the water coming down. But fortunately, we seem to have missed the worst of it. It did flood, but once again, the SES took action to sandbag a lot of the area, plus the tides were low when we needed them to be low. So that was by the grace of God, I guess, that as the water was coming down from the catchment, the tide went out. So there was a lot more capacity in the lagoon than normal.
While we talk about the incredible pictures from yesterday and the damage will be to individual homes, dreadful, it's nothing like what we've seen out west and north in places like Lismore, Ballina. The Prime Minister will go there today. We've been talking on the program all morning about what sort of reception he might receive. Would you hope that the locals there embrace the fact that he's turning up with a rescue package rather than treat him as he was treated on the South Coast during the 2019 bushfire visit?
Look, I guess what I would hope is that we come together in times like these. The thing that I've noted over time in the public square in Australia is everything is getting more and more politically divisive. Both sides of politics, no side, frankly, is innocent of this. use every incident to try and push their political agenda. This is a natural disaster. People have suffered. I'm sure that there will be time for recriminations on things that could have been done better. Now is not that time. What we should be spending this time to do now is to make sure that people who don't have somewhere to live can find a place where to live. It is no point bemoaning the fact that they don't at the moment. The question is, how do we fix that problem as quickly as possible? So I hope that the people who meet the Prime Minister today express their frustration, tell him how heartbroken they are. He will want to hear that. He knows that's his job as a leader, to hear those things and to understand or to try to understand this, how people are suffering. But equally, I hope that people are also constructive about this is how we can best work together to get people back on their feet.
Just for a moment, let me drag you out of your conciliatory mood and back into the political swamp. You may not want me to
prove my point.
You might not want me to take you there, but I'm going to nonetheless. Labor leader Anthony Albanese has made a speech overnight saying he's going to promise, quote, a spirit of consensus to rebuild the economy if his party wins the election in May. And he has said he wishes to serve the people of Australia in the style of Bob Hawke and Paul Keating. Now, as far as I can remember, every Labor leader since Paul Keating, and I include Kim Beazley, Kevin Rudd, Mark Latham, Julia Gillard, Bill Shorten and Simon Crean, have said that. Is Anthony Albanese capable of doing that?
I don't think so, mate. It's not that Albo's a bad guy or anything. It's the people behind him. I mean, the problem with the left at the moment is Twitter. Twitter pushes them to extremes on all sorts of things, particularly around identity politics. And by the way, you know, does our economy need rebuilding? I mean, we currently have the lowest unemployment rate for nearly 50 years. We have the strongest economic growth globally. The question for us is not to rebuild the economy. The question for us is how do we keep it going? And, you know, Kevin Rudd made exactly the same promise before he became Prime Minister. He said, I'm an economic conservative, and he turned out to be anything but. If that's what Anthony Albanese really means, then start highlighting the policies that he's going to implement that puts meat on the bone. These things are easy to say, they're hard to do. I mean, I'd also point out that Bob Hawke and Paul Keating did a lot of reform in industrial relations to decentralise wage fixing in Australia, which led to a productivity boom and real wage increases. Is Anthony Albanese really going to stand up to the power of the unions and say to people, no, you can actually work with your boss to get better wages and better deal at work? I doubt it. He'll always want the unions right in the middle of that. So, I mean, it's, you know, let's see what he has to say. But the one thing I'll say about the left is, you know, don't listen to what they say, just watch what they do. And it's never, ever, you know, Kevin Rudd promised he'd be an economic conservative and he turned out to be actually the opposite.
You jumped back in, straight back in?
Well, I mean,
you didn't miss a beat, mate.
Yeah, I know.
Unbelievable. Good luck up there on the Northern Beaches today. I hope everybody recovers properly. Thanks, Jason.
Thanks, Steve. Really appreciate it. Bye, mate.
Jason Falinski there. How funny. Anthony Albanese also said he's going to set up a $15 billion reconstruction fund. Where's he getting that money from?
Thanks for listening to this Australia Today podcast. Have your say on the issues that matter. Email australiatoday@sca.com.au.
Listener.